Welcome to Virginia Insider. I am Chandler Nunnally. We have a very exciting group of guests this week. They have helped to define the comedy scene here in Hampton Roads with the Push Comedy Theater. They have an upcoming program called Panties and a Twist, celebrating its 12th year on May 9th and 10th at the Wells Theater. Courtney Richard and Brad McMurran. Guys, welcome.
Hi.
How are you, my friend?
I am so excited to talk to you guys. I've been a fan of Push Comedy ever since a friend that I met here at News 3 started taking improv classes there, and he urged me to come see a show. I had been a fan of improv comedy for a long time, and I was just instantly hooked on the community that you guys have built.
I appreciate you saying that.
At Push. Let's talk about Panties and a Twist because it's coming up.
Okay.
You guys are both producers on the show. Courtney, I would say you kind of are at the helm of this, right?
Right. So we, the show itself is all women, directed, acted, written. So yes, Brad can't be at the helm for that. He gets more of the world. But yes, for this, so for the past couple years, have taken the girls. It's a new cast every year through the process. It's an ever-evolving process. It's an ensemble cast of women we put together. Really unique about it is that we don't have a show until we cast it, and then we work together as a group to sort through scripts, to dole out the roles, and really craft a show of what goes in and what doesn't. So they get to go through the whole process from start to finish, some of whom have never done theater before. So it's really fun.
Are these ladies that are part of the cast, are they alumni of, the Push classes? Are they people who are currently enrolled, or are they, totally fresh faces?
Yeah, they're all. So the auditions are open to anybody in the community. We just,
Really?
It's local. Yeah. So, and we get community theater people that come out. We have people that just are like, their friends say they're funny. So they come audition.
Yeah. You love that.
And we get some good, every once in a while, you get one, they're like, wow, you really are funny. Your friends were right. And then a lot of students come through. They take the improv classes and they love it. They form friendships and communities, and they all come out. Push does an all-female improv show monthly. They are called Girl Prov, and a lot of those girls come out and audition as well. So yeah, just stand-up comedians, just everybody. And
Brad, as an advocate of the patriarchy, how do you feel taking credit for this?
I agree. Yes, and. I've learned that.
Going back to the origin of this, why start a show like this?
I can honestly tell you, I called this one, it started all the way back. I went to London, and I got to go to London. We went to college together, and she went to
ODU?
Yeah, the Harvard of the South. Yeah, we went there, and
I love ODU, man.
I do too. I was there for a long time. But no, I went to go see Richard III at the Globe, but it was done by all women. And I came home and called her and another friend of mine named Alva and a few other friends and was like, if they can do it, why can't we?
Yeah.
And it really was sort of the impetus for it. Yeah, as I had seen that over there. It was such a cool sort of, thumb your nose at the way it used to be with all the men being in the cast.
Yeah,
back
and even playing female parts. It was
Correct.
Yeah. But it was such a good production. And of course, I was jealous because the minute they started setting it up, she took over year 2 or 3 or whatever it was, But when they took over, it blew up bigger than the shows that we had. And I was like, no, no, give me back my fame.
The women are loose.
Right. That came across weird.
Oopsie.
But yeah.
It's fine. Let's just
that
move
in the
on.
editing room. Yeah. But no, in all sincerity, I mean, it's been great. And she came in, and Courtney's always been one of the funniest people I've met. So when she sort of took over, you can see the humor change. She is very good with, I think you balance well, is that Courtney, of course, has a real job. And she's not like me, where, we'll worry about that some other time. But she brings a lot of adult humor, mother, and then also, I think, local. I think you do pay attention to local, which I think is fun because I love.
I'm watching.
Yeah, you and I were just talking off air. As you know, we're from here, so I think it deserves to be picked on properly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and audiences love that.
Yeah.
when I go to improv shows, that's something that you can really feel in the room, especially when, you give out one-word suggestions.
Sure.
And it's like, the MMBT is like, that would kill, because who doesn't have opinions about the Monitor Merrimack?
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. Sketch comedy, that's the form of Panties in a Twist. Push is sort of rooted in improv. You guys do sketch classes and sketch shows there. How closely related are those forms for you guys?
Hugely. So you're talking to two people right here. I'm probably going to go down known as the improv guy, but if you cut me and you cut Courtney, we're going to bleed sketch.
Yeah.
Really?
We came from that. So we originally started a group out of ODU called the Pushers, and it was all sketch. It was all written. It wasn't until I sort of started getting we had done some improv, but it wasn't.
It was improv, but it was more like we just didn't learn our lines for the sketches.
It wasn't
so we weren't
formal.
trained in improv.
Sure.
To begin with. And then these guys went, so we did the Pushers, and it was all sketch. We were putting up shows during the summer. We didn't have really a home at that point in time, so we were playing in, we had homes, but Pushers didn't.
I like the way you put it
actually
first.
had a home at that point in time. So we would play at bars. Like, I remember our tap house shows, the Belmont, playing at the Narrow.
That's
I
awesome.
remember all this. So we just had plays that we'd find venues and play.
Anywhere that would take
that we could put a sketch show up in a bar. Who doesn't love that?
Well, yeah. Some of these places are probably not suited to have.
No.
There were just people yelling at us, and it's fine. But so that was our roots. And then these guys went up to
Upright Citizen Brigade,
Upright Citizens
UCB.
Brigade,
New York or LA?
I was in New York.
Yeah.
Took classes and then weirdly responsibly brought it down and formed his own career out of this by bringing it down and teaching other people.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a place at first too, so they were teaching out of the Muse Writers Center. And then got the theater, and the classes have blown up, and now I'm not the improv person. Like, Brad and I do improv together, but I wouldn't say that I am the improv person.
That's not your comfort zone?
I love sketch. I love...
You say that, but we do a show called Date Night.
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up.
Phenomenal. So the answer is she likes to say that, but the thing is...
I'm not formally trained the way that most of my cast has gone through 101 to 501.
Well, don't you think maybe you've absorbed it after years of working with Brad?
There's a lot you can absorb from Brad.
Penicillin.
Talk about the date night show. You guys are so well known for that around here.
Yeah, I honestly, it's going to always sound strange. I have another show called The Unusual Suspects that I do with her. That is probably the most well attended.
Yes.
I'd say the show. However, there's a few times I'm going to sound. I hope I don't sound too pretentious on this, but I mean it. I think it's the best show we have at that theater. It's so innocent.
Yeah.
So kind of pretty is, we take a couple when we interview them.
Yeah.
And then we just improvise the story of their love. And I can promise you this, I get more people tell me that they wet their pants at laughter than that night. Because, you're seeing yourself on stage.
Yeah.
There's something kind of fun. But it's not a roast. It's more of a celebration.
Yeah.
But it is really cool where we do a set interview. She's going to be doing it in Panties, actually.
Yeah. So we have a show this weekend. I didn't realize it's the beginning of the month.
Is that this Saturday?
It's this. You have a show this weekend.
Okay, I'll be there. Yeah.
Yep. I meant to remind you of that. So we do it the first Saturday of every month at the theater, but then. So Panties, the format is mostly sketch. We do add some improv in. One, it's being produced by Push. We want to make sure people know that we're the improv, theater to come and take classes at. So I do date night with another member of the cast.
You do it with
Sydney this year.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's she and I will pull a couples maybe that we know. So we don't.
You're trying to convince me to do
I
this.
am trying to convince you.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want my deep, dark secrets getting out there.
Do you have a good relationship with your lady?
Yeah.
It's
Tell us,
certainly a
Chandler.
long-running one.
Good. If you're in that place, do it. If you're on the verge, skip it.
We actually,
If I don't end up doing it, it wasn't because we were in a bad place.
You heard it here
I'm
first.
not great at picking the people. I think the last time I picked somebody from the audience in Panties in a Twist, they drove down from Richmond, and they had seen the show every year. They loved it, and they came down, but they got in a fight on the way down. They were not speaking to each other.
Kind of thing happens.
Yeah, they got in a big fight on the way down. We're not speaking to each other.
Sure.
I would not take no for an answer and pulled them up onto the stage, and they were facing away from each other.
Yeah.
Would not. But through the interview, they kind of turned
loosened up
in.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
and then we saw them the next day at brunch. We were all very hungover.
They
and
got
they
a
were there.
divorce.
No. No.
They said
They
thank
said
you, you
they said
showed
thank
us.
you. We had a big fight, but talking about our relationship, we realized that it was a silly fight. The past couple years, though, we have had people that were like, we don't think they're going to make it after we interviewed.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I think at the
Well,
Norfolk,
that's
the
part
whole
of the
audience
fun.
turned against one of the
That
couples.
was one, yeah.
Yeah, I was at.
You were at that one.
I was at that one, and it was kind of like, yo.
Yeah.
You know, but
Who
hey,
said that?
you sign up for
Listen.
that unpredictability.
That's the
Part
part
of it.
with doing the interviews.
Yeah.
It's the reason the show is, I think, so magical. Date night is so magical is that because we don't know what they're going to say, and things spill out that they don't realize is going to say.
Right.
But usually, some sort of theme
A
appears.
nickname comes
Yeah.
out you never thought you'd hear or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is really just
Yeah.
gorgeous. But yeah, I've just so enjoyed doing it with this one for years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me go back to the UCB thing and
Sure.
the origins of Push. So I'm like a big fan of a lot of UCB alums.
Sure.
So like Del Close is like the sort of godfather of improv comedy. Can you talk me through like the basics of improv? Just because I think some amount of our listeners probably don't know what the formal
Well,
improv is.
so everything he's talking about right now is all of it. Courtney was born in Chicago, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So Del Close is kind of somebody that's we all owe a lot to. I mean, like I was joking around with someone the other day. They were like, "Oh, you're like the guy that created improv." I'm like, I did not create improv. I wish I had. Yeah, but Del Close was this wonderful teacher that came out of Chicago, and he wrote the book on it called Truth and Comedy. But in improv, what they found out is it's probably closest to dance than it is any art form because we have to create it together. It's not like I can go out there and be bigger than you one night or you be bigger than me. That's not going to work. And there's a golden rule of improv, and it starts with everybody thinks that's yes and it's not. It's make your partner look good. It really is about like if the thought process. If I make you look good, you'll make me look good, kind of by reciprocity. And then they teach you these kind of rules that conflict doesn't really play well. It's a really strange art form because I think I write off-Broadway musicals and things like that where we have to do sketch comedy we were just talking about, where you have conflict we overcome. This doesn't work well, as you know, in improv. If we're not in agreement, negation kills the scene dead. So it's been weird. I'm actually teaching this every day of my life. You can probably hear it in my voice, but we go to corporations and teach them this now. I'm working with the Ability Center of Virginia. I'm working with the Joint Armed Services War College. The people that are literally going to be starting our wars for the next 30 years. I'm teaching them improv as a way to communicate. NATO spies we're working with.
They're like, sir, we've got our finger on the button. We're ready to drop the bombs. And he's like, but wait,
Yeah.
let's do a callback before the third beat.
Yeah. Yes, and do it. Yeah. It's like, yeah, no, but you're right. And I like that you know your stuff on that. Yeah, it's like, but what's cool about improvisation is the training is really where I fell in love with it is, the old greats, Gilda Radner,
Yeah.
Bill Murray, Tina Fey, even new ones like Donald Glover. It's a really good training. And the thing that I kind of learned about it is I think we all know comedy, but it's able to put your vocabulary to it. Because we all know rules of three, right? We've all been taught that. We know what a callback is. We know what heightening is. Like I once caught a fish this big, right? That's heightening. Right. But to be able to put it in vocabulary and actually be able to train in it is something that was life-changing for me.
That really makes it make sense because we all know how to dance instinctively.
Yeah.
Everyone can sing instinctively, right? But you can also train and get really good at those
You nailed it.
So
and I love that
comedy
word
has a
training.
form, too.
Yeah.
Can I ask about Adam Payne,
Yeah.
your buddy? What role did he play in this?
Adam was a student of mine at the Muse Writer Center, and he quickly became a best friend. He was in the first class I ever taught. And
wow.
We really hit it off, and Adam Payne came and worked for us. He went up and studied at Upright, so he had gone up to New York for a few years, which was really cool that he did that. And he kind of came back home with his tail between his legs a little bit and was like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, I'm going to put you to work. So he came and worked for me. And we got to the place where he was traveling all these places with me. So all these corporate workshops and how I make money, if I do make money. he would go with me, and like I always said, I've slept with Adam Payne more than I like to admit in hotel rooms, right? And he was such a snorer. I'll never forget that. It sounded like animals fighting, but we would be in the same rooms together, and we were just really the bestest of friends. And one morning he was taking me to an audition, because the audition of my life was going to be in Phoenix somewhere in Arizona, and he was going to take me to the airport. He dropped me off one morning, and by the time I landed in Phoenix, my best friend was dead. Yeah, he died at 38, and even talking about it right now still hurts. We were all very close. He was a very. As a matter of fact, I have to tell you this really quickly. I don't care if it takes too long.
We got time.
We have something Courtney's been great about is, like, let's face it, I'm a white guy. We don't want me in this production, right? Like, I don't blame you. It's like, we've got enough of those in the world, right?
Yeah.
And so we try to stay away from this, and Courtney's done a good job of really making where this is all women. We do not go get involved with that, except for maybe the signing of a contract or something, right? But Adam wanted to be a part of this when we were first starting so badly. And they were like, no, you're not going to do that. And he was like, please let me be a part of it somehow. So what they came to a conclusion was he could come, but he had to sit down on the floor.
To the auditions. He wanted to come. He wanted to come watch the auditions and give his input to the auditions. And we were like, no. And he was like, I just want to watch it. And we're like, all right, but you can sit on the floor in the
sound booth, so nobody can see
you.
him.
No one can see you back there, but you can listen. And he did.
But we kind of had said it to him, thinking that there's no way somebody would take that deal. Yeah. Adam showed up and took that damn deal. I appreciate you asking about him. Yeah, he was a great impression. Yeah. He was a great teacher.
A great teacher. I think his presence is still, even though Push keeps bringing students through. Lots of students. They start at 101, and people who have never met Adam still feel, I think, his presence at the theater. The people who did take classes with him, like, everybody just kind of honors him in that space.
Well,
and he's definitely there.
His legacy is so lovingly preserved there, and you talk about him so much.
He was a good friend. His family and I and Courtney, we're all still very close. As a matter of fact, his mother just went through a big scare, and she survived it too.
Oh, that's great. Well, so the decision to take what you had learned through your experiences in college, and then you get this kind of this improv bug from your time with UCB. Sounds like a crazy idea to come to Hampton Roads, where there's no improv comedy scene, there's barely a stand-up comedy scene, and then decide to start your own.
Yeah, it was. I'm really glad you said this. This might sound a little harsh to me, but I can live with that. I'm from Portsmouth. Every improv troupe that's in this area now started with me, meaning that they broke up from us. So I just want to let you know, like, even the ones that hate us, we started it. But anyway, it really was.
And if there are any that I was leaving out, I'm sorry, but my understanding was that you kind of were
No, you had it right. We'll own that. But truthfully, like, there's a guy that comes to mind that came to me, a really nice guy that was was trying to be in a group, that came to me and said, what are you doing? Hampton Roads is too transient. There's no way that you will ever be able to set up. This is really what he said. I used to write a post that was kind of a thumb and nose to him. He said, Hampton Roads doesn't have the sophistication to learn that. We're not the place. And I just didn't agree with that. You don't tell somebody from Portsmouth that there's no sophistication, And I know that sounds weird, but it was like, we'll see about that. And here I am, 14 years later of starting this, 15 years later. No, I'm so sorry. 16 years later of starting at the Muse Writers Center. I disagree. Yeah, I think this area has been perfect for it. I mean, with the Navy, people coming in all the time, it actually is a great place to go and learn. And we've kind of, something, even we have a reputation around the country as a bit of a fundamentalist. We're very fundamentals of improv here. Like, I would say we're very big on, truthfully, the fundamentals. Like, when you would get to the higher of, like, we do heralds here, and I don't mean to get too jargony, but we're heralds here. But if you're really learning the fundamentals of improvisation, this is a really good place to learn it. Yeah.
And it's been sort of a parallel rise with, just the comedy scene here in general. I mean, other comedians I've spoken to through, like, our show that we do called Coast Comedy Live.
We put some folks from that.
And just open mics here have really boomed over the similar, like, last 14, 15 years. And then places like Kazi's, I feel like, you're getting sold out shows there like never before. And you got a lot of folks here that are just being put on the map. I think social media has helped a ton with that.
Yeah.
It has, and you're right. Yeah, we coming from a guy that used to do it in college. She used to come out to my stand-up comedy shows down at the Thorogood Comedy Inn, which nobody knows where that is anymore because it's dead. But you are right. I used to work at the Funny Bone too. So what's been interesting is there really has been a huge rise. I like that you said that, and I think again, even though some of us have had splits and stuff, that's not the worst thing. People think a split's bad. It really isn't. Sometimes
more
it really helps
rooms
out.
is good for the artists.
Yeah.
There's so much, I think, so many of our students have host things now. Go around and take that training and go host things, work on that. We teach stand-up. There's a lot more happening, in the area that it just really supports it, and it does feel bigger, and people are going to shows, which is awesome. It's nice to see people out.
Courtney, how do you? Because I know you as a performer. Mm-hmm. You're also a mom.
Yeah.
You also have a job.
I do.
And yet, you are very well known as like a sort of a voice on the forefront of the comedy scene here in the community. So how do you balance that?
Alcohol.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Correct. I don't sleep. No, it is hard. It's definitely hard. So I was just talking to Brad about the evolution of the process of doing Panties in a Twist. So this is a once in a year thing that we do. Mm-hmm. It adds a whole nother layer to schedules and things. We're asking other moms, working women, things like that, to give up their time to, put on a show. Mm-hmm. Improv's a little bit easier because you don't have to practice for it. So you can fit those things in. And it's just all about, the balancing of it, trying to find the pockets of time, scheduling. I work in finance as a real job, so that's super fun right now.
It's also hilarious.
It's so funny. It's so funny. But my improv I have a degree in theater.
Yeah, she does.
I had to get a job.
She's written plays.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I had to get a job out of college because I'm a very responsible child, and my father told me that I needed health insurance, and I'm older, so that was before I could stay on my parents' health insurance.
Health insurance.
I know.
That?
Health insurance. So I went and got a job at a mutual fund company because they were nice to me on the phone. This is true. Right? I was drinking a beer when I filled out the application, and they hired me. And they hired me because they told me that arts majors are easier to train than actual business or finance majors, and they are. So I worked.
Did you minor in business or anything?
No, I have a minor in communications, and that's only because I had to have one.
So you were totally like, I'm gonna be an artist.
When I found theater in high school. Yeah. And I was really shy before 10th grade, and found theater, and that was the place I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. I always wanted to be funny, and I knew I could do things, I could perform, but I was too shy to do it. Yeah. And I use that now when I teach the acting class at Push. I always tell people, and I tell my girls in the cast, I know there's a performance in there. Yeah. You're here because you know in your heart that there is a performance that you want to put out there, and you know you can do it. Mm-hmm. But something holds us back, right? Our self-consciousness, whatever that is, the feeling of insecurity, and this idea that someone in the room doesn't want you to succeed.
Oh, it's self-doubt.
Right, you go to an audition and you say, this person is...
They don't want me, they don't need me.
Right, they don't need me, and they're judging me right now, right? So even in life, a job interview, an audition for something, any of those things, we actually want you to do good. We want you to make it hard for us to choose, because that means we have all this talent. And when you remind someone of that and then say, just what you know that is in here, put it out there, it's amazing to watch people do it. That's cool. I would say that juggling all of those things, being a mom, work, all of that comes from going, it's okay to put it all out there and to just
I've never heard the word volleyball more in my entire life than I have in the last few months. Her daughter's gotten very good at volleyball.
Yes, we're in club sports and dance, and I'm one of those moms. So I want my kids to do everything. My daughter discovered theater this year.
That must make you very proud.
But she sings. I don't. So I try to sing.
I heard you singing last date night.
I sing all the time on stage. It's not good, but I do it. She's actually good.
Oh,
so
awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Was there ever a point, Courtney, where you, because I think a lot of people go through this. I kind of have my own time going through this. You're, blossoming into adulthood, trying to find your path. Did you ever have to leave your
Yeah.
passion behind?
Oh yeah, I did for years.
Okay, so how did that make you feel?
So I was part of the Pushers.
Yeah.
I also was in a relationship, getting married, and had stepchildren at the time. Didn't have my own kids yet, and those sort of that responsible life took over, and it wasn't a happy moment in my life where I was angry at the time it was taking to do the thing with my friends that I used to enjoy.
Yeah.
And it was really hard, but it was because of the pressure and not having the support really at home to go, no, take that time for yourself. Yeah. So I spent years away from the Pushers. That's when they went up and did the improv. That's why I say I'm not the improv person. I was raising babies at home and, doing the mom life.
Panties is what kind of brought you back,
It
if I'm
is.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so I missed the first Panties. I had just
Which is
had a
fun
baby.
to say, Panties brought you
Panties
back.
brought me back. Panties always brings
Well,
me
that's
back.
the title of the episode
Yeah,
right there.
Panties gonna bring you back. I missed the first Panties in a Twist. That's the only one I haven't been in, and I regretted it so much.
Yeah,
Did you?
Did it hurt for you?
It hurt. I saw that and I went, oh,
Did it really?
It did.
Yeah.
Oh man, to not be part of that, the FOMO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the next year it came up, and Brad said, you're a pusher. You can always be in a show. And I was like, no, I'll audition. I'm not a nepo baby. So I auditioned, and I was just in the cast the first couple years, and every year I kind of edged my foot in the door a little bit because I can't help it. And kind of stuck with it through there. But every year I was just telling Brad, we're at the point of the show where I'm like, this is the last one. This is it. I have too much stuff to do. But once the show hits the stage and the curtain goes up, all of those feelings go away. And you're like, this is what I'm here for.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it must be, as our passions are for many of us, it's not always an easy thing to keep going.
It is so hard as you become an adult and have other responsibilities to really give yourself the time to do it.
Yeah, and even what you were saying when we were off air is where I heard you say you were behind the camera and then you got this chance to be on.
Yeah.
Where you're like, hey, you got to take it, right? I mean, I kind of love that you told me that because it's like, yeah, you do,
Well,
right?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I used to be like a pretty successful touring musician.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and this career it could not coexist with that. It kind of had to go away. I mean,
What do you play?
Drums.
Okay.
And I played for a guy who's very successful now, and he outgrew me, my skill level, and
Dave Matthews.
Yeah, his name's Dave Matthews. But no, I mean, I played in some huge venues, thousands of people, opened for some big artists. I played the legendary Blue Note Jazz Club.
Sure. Yeah.
in New
Cool.
York. Yeah, it was cool, man.
That is really cool.
But that was before my TV thing, and then I just was like, well, this career is gratifying. This other part of my life, I've always loved film and TV. You have to make choices, right?
You do.
And,
we talk about it in the first day of improv. Yeah, that's
Really?
it. I joke around in my character class. You just kind of stole it. What I say is, I'll throw a character class for $100 or something that we charge for it, and I'm like, I just ripped you off. Make the choice, right? I mean, if you make the choice, even if it's a poor one, it's better than just coming out neutral. It really is. It really plays well.
Yeah. That's great. Well, let's wrap this up. Push Comedy Theater in Norfolk. You guys do
Still kicking.
Yeah, shows, improv classes.
Yeah.
Give us the pitch to sign up for people who've always wanted to try. You do stand-up classes. You do sketch classes and improv classes. Hatton Jordan, who's been on a Coast Comedy Live.
Yeah.
He's a very talented guy.
He
Good
taught
friend.
me how to ride a bike. We grew up next to each other in Portsmouth. Yeah,
But oddly enough, he didn't teach you how to ride a bike until last week.
Right. I just learned. I'm so excited. Yeah.
Pushing him down the street.
So what's the best way to get in touch with Push, man?
Call Courtney.
No.
It is. You can find us at pushcomedytheater.com. It'd be the best play if you want to email us at pusherscomedy@gmail.com. That's great. But truthfully, just show up.
Go see a show.
Just show up.
Go see a show.
Come see Date Night this Saturday.
This
There you
Saturday.
go.
That'd be great on that.
Twist.
And my big thing in this is we always offer this, and is if you want to come the first night of a class for free, see if it's something you like, just come. I'll make a bet you will stay. Yeah, but it's always that option. You can just come and show up and see if you like it.
Oh, that's great.
I'd like to see you in a class.
I've thought about it for years.
You should do it.
Do it.
It would help you. I know that sounds strange, but it's
No,
one
I
of
know
those things
it
really
would.
does. It makes you. I was just hearing somebody say this to me the other day. That was such a great compliment. It makes you comfortable in the uncomfortable. which I was like, that's a great quote. You know, that's a really cool
I
quote.
live in the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Too, so I
I've
could use
seen what
some
you
help.
do. I imagine that. Yeah.
We've seen your hands sweat.
Yeah, they're sweaty right now, baby. I tell you what. Courtney, Panties in a Twist coming up. You guys have 2 nights
We
at
do
the
this
Historic Wells Theater.
Yep.
Beautiful venue.
So gorgeous. We're so happy to be back there.
Give us the plug.
All right, it is Mother's Day weekend, so if you have not gotten your mom a present or your wife a present, what she wants to do is come to Panties in a Twist.
Yeah.
So it's May 9th and 10th, 7:30, Wells Theater. Tickets are available at pushcomedytheater.com. There should be a banner right up there. It's a fun show. It is not family friendly,
No.
so it's not for the kids to bring their moms to. They can make her a card, macaroni necklace or something.
No, I tried to.
Yeah.
I suggested a few years ago to you the subtitle "Panties in a Twist: A Fair Bit of Filth."
Correct.
You objected to that.
Correct.
Because
Because it sounds dirty, Chandler. We're not that type of show. We're not that type of filth.
You gotta keep your panties out of
You gotta
the
keep
filth,
your panties out. Keep your panties out of it.
But I meant it, honestly.
Yes, there is a fair amount of filth every year. There's always something wild in there. Content for everybody of age.
Mature
That's it.
audience.
Mature-
Mature audience for
Yeah,
immature.
Immature.
Mature comedy for immature audiences.
Yeah.
Yes,
Bring your
that's
pastor, bring your boss.
If you're 18 and above,
know?
bring your mom. It'd be
Bring your
great,
mom.
yeah.
Bring your mom. I guarantee you, she does not want that heart necklace. She wants tickets to Panties in a Twist.
I love
No.
it. Courtney, Brad, you guys are incredible. It's been a true gift to talk to you on Virginia Insider. Thank you so much for being here.
You too, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. And hey, guys, remember, Virginia Insider is presented by WTKR and WGNT right here in Norfolk, Virginia, representing Southeastern Virginia and Northeastern North Carolina. You want to see more of me? You can check out Coast Live weekdays at 9 a.m. on WTKR. It airs the next day at 10 a.m. on WGNT. Follow me on Instagram at Chandler Nunnally. We'll see you next time on Virginia Insider. See you.